Hey everybody, it is the Jelly Beans here again, and today I am going to read to you again this book, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this series and stuff, and we're gonna get right into it. What happened last time was Jack and Annie, they went into a cloister thing, found cloisters. Some museum about cloisters, whatever, and they walked into a gallery, and there was a painting, or I think it was, I think it was a painting. Tapestries. There are tapestries, whatever, and there is a unicorn on it. One of them is a unicorn, and right now we are on chapter 6, The Hunt of the Unicorn. There were seven tapestries in all. Each was almost as high as the wooden ceiling. Jack read aloud from a sign on the wall under the first one. The Hunt of the Unicorn. Tapestries woven in the Netherlands at the end of the 1400s. The first tapestry showed hunters and hounds searching for the unicorn. The second showed the unicorn being found. The other tapestry showed the unicorn trying to escape, leaving from a stream, chased by hounds, then captured and slain by the hunters' spears. Oh gosh. Poor unicorn. Oddly, the last tapestry showed the unicorn alive again. He was sitting in a garden of flowers surrounded by a wooden fence. There was a white, blue, and gold collar around his neck, and he was chained to a tree. "That's him," Annie said softly. "How can it be him?" said Jack. "He's a picture in a tapestry." Read Marlin's poem again," said Annie. Jack unbuckled his briefcase and pulled out the parchment scroll. He read aloud. "The very last unicorn is now hidden well by those who have put him under a spell." "The unicorn is hidden in the tapestry," said Annie. "The people who woven it must be the ones who put him under a spell." Said Jack. He read on. 4 centuries, 4 decades, from that afternoon, at the end of November, before the blue moon. "Stop doing the math," said Annie. "Right," said Jack. He took out his notebook and pencil. "Okay, 4 centuries is 440 decades, and 40 decades is 40. Add them up and you get 440. Then if you subtract 40 years, so if you subtract 440 from 1938, you get 1498. It worked from, now I'm messing this whole thing up. I'm going to read it of the dates. From 1938, you get 1498. "It works," said Annie. "The sign says the tapestries were woven at the end of the oh my gosh, 1400s, and it's the end of November, and Mr. Perkins said there was a blue moon tonight." "Oh man," whispered Jack. He kept reading on. "He will wake once more and be free to go home, if you call out its name, Divine Flower of Rome." Annie looked up at the tapestry. "Divine Flower," she said. Nothing happened. "Divine Flower of Rome," Jack called. Jack and Annie watched and waited. Nothing changed in the tapestry. It looked exactly the same. "Maybe he's not the right unicorn after all," said Jack. "Maybe it's just not the right name," said Annie. "Read the rest." Jack read more of the poem. "You must coax him to stand. Once his name is spoken, his chain will break, and the spell to be broken." "He is the right unicorn," said Annie. "See, there's the chain." She pointed to the chain in the last tapestry. "Yeah, but why didn't calling his name work?" said Jack. "Why didn't he wake up?" "I don't know," said Annie. "What else does the poem say?" Jack read on. "Then a young girl must love him and show him the way, lest be trapped forever on public display. If he loses his chance to rise and depart, all magic will fade from his horn and his heart." "He is on public display, and I'm the girl, Jack," said Annie. "I love him a lot. I'll show him the way." "Okay, calm down. First we need to wake him up," said Jack. Voices came from the outside. Jack moved to the window. He looked out to the courtyard. Two people were coming through the cloister, their heads down against the flying snow. One wore a dark cape and the other a tan raincoat. Jack turned back to Annie, a big grin on his face. You were right. They found us. Teddy and Kathleen are here, he said. They'll know how to break the spell, of course, said Annie, beaming. Quick, let's hide and surprise them for a change. In there, said Jack. He and Annie hurried into a long room off the tapestry room. They heard the door from the cloister open. They felt a rush of cold air. They heard footsteps. Jack and Annie grinned at each other. Jack put his finger to his lips. Then a quick, nervous voice came from the tapestry room. Grinda, they are not here. I see that, Baylor, but look. Ah, it is him, Grinda. Annie grabbed Jack's arm. Baylor, Grinda, she whispered. Shh, whispered Jack. Of course that 'tis him, said the girl. I told you those Frog Creek brats would lead us to him. Get the rope ready. Ay, boy. Ay, said the boy. Jack and Annie carefully peeked around the corner. They saw a girl and a boy standing with their backs to them, facing the unicorn in the last tapestry. The boy held a thick black rope. Call out his name, Grinda, said the boy. The girl took a step toward the tapestry. She raised her arms in front of the unicorn. Dianthus, she called. Wind rustled through the open door. The flowers on the tapestry stayed as if the wind were blowing them. The scent of flowers wafted through the room. The unicorn moved his head. Oh, whispered Annie. Get ready, Baylor, to take him back to the master, said the girl. Annie clutched Jack's arm. Who's the master? She whispered. I don't know, whispered Jack, but I think he's a good guy. Maybe they're bad people and they're just trying to steal the unicorn and stuff. I forgot to show you the picture. Yeah, it's the unicorn on the tapestry. The girl turned back to the tapestry and spoke softly to the unicorn. Come, my lovely Dianthus. Stand up now. Come out of that old rug. The unicorn turned his head and looked out at the girl. The look in his blue eyes was ancient, yet young, wise yet innocent. He lifted his head as if he were about to stand. The girl nodded to the boy. The boy slowly coiled the black rope into a noose. Oh my god, are they going to kill the unicorn? The girl looked at the unicorn again. Come to me, Dianthus, she coaxed. Don't be afraid, I'll love you and show you the way. And then there is the unicorn and stuff. Anyway, it's transparent. Actually, no, mind. No, Dianthus, yelled Annie. Don't go to her. Annie and Jack bolted from their hiding place. Baylor and Grinda whirled around in surprise. I don't know how they know these people's names, Baylor and Grinda. Never heard of them. They both had pale faces and pale shining eyes. Leave him alone, Annie yelled at the strange pair. You don't love him. We love him. At that moment, there was a flash of light, and the unicorn in the tapestry leapt like a deer over the woven fence. Baylor and Grinda shrieked and jumped back. Jack covered his head. There was silence. Jack looked up. The tapestry on the wall was unchanged. It still showed a unicorn woven from yarn chained to a tree. But standing on the floor of the museum was the most beautiful creature Jack had ever seen. Wow, that was the shortest chapter of the whole book. Chapter 7, guys. It's like... Man, chapter 7 is 8 pages. That's short, too. Okay, the unicorn had broad milk white chest and graceful neck. A tuft of hair curled under his chin. A long spiraled horn rose from the middle of his forehead. He stood very still and very tall. His whole body seemed to be glowing. Baylor and Grinda just stared at him. They both looked frightened, but Annie stepped forward. Hi, Dianthus, she whispered, but reached out and gently touched the unicorn's white chest. Feel, Jack, right? Feel his heart pounding. Move away, ordered Grinda. The girl stepped between Jack and Annie. He is ours, and he is coming with us. He's not yours, said Annie. Who are you, anyway? Said Jack. Where did you come from? Grinda glared at Jack. "We come from the strange magic world he comes from," she said. "He belongs with us, not you. Baylor." The boy shoved Annie aside and tried to loop the black rope around the unicorn's neck, but Dianthus reared up and wheeled around, forcing Baylor and Grinda out of his way. Dianthus leapt across the tapestry room toward the garden. Jack and Annie followed him through the open doorway into the snowy cloister. Baylor and Grinda charged after them. They pushed past Jack and Annie to Dianthus. Baylor grabbed the unicorn's blue collar. "You are coming with us, stupid, like it or not." "Don't pull on him," yelled Annie, "and don't call him stupid." Oh no. Dianthus tried to back up. "Let go," screamed Annie. "He doesn't want to go with you." "He has no choice," said Grinda. "As soon as the rope goes around his neck, all three of us will be instantly transported back to the castle of the Dark Wizard." Oh, the Dark Wizard, guys. Alright, here's like, Jesus, I want to look at, okay, you can, sure, Jesus, I want to show you pictures, guys. I just want to show you pictures. "No!" Jack shouted. He charged at Baylor and tried to grab the rope from his hand. Baylor let go of the unicorn's collar and shoved Jack into the snow. Then he turned back to the unicorn and began to swing the magic rope like a lasso. Dianthus reared up again and kicked his legs. Breathed through his nostrils, billowed into the icy air. "A rhyme, Jack!" yelled Annie. "A rhyme!" Kneeling in the snow, Jack yanked the book from his briefcase. He frantically turned the pages, looking for a rhyme that hadn't been used. "Call a cloud from the sky," shouted to Annie. "Anything," she called. "Try it." Jack read the rhyme aloud. "Down from high, out of the sky, no fain roy lie." A thick white fog instantly filled the cloister. The fog was so dense that Jack couldn't even see his own hand. "Baylor, where are you?" shrieked Grinda. "Here," the boy yelled. Someone grabbed Jack. He struggled to break free. "Let me go," he shouted. "It's me," whispered Annie. "Come on." Jack stood up, clinging to Annie. They stumbled together through the garden. Feeling their way along the walkway, they came to the door that led to the main hall. "Dianthus, here," Annie whispered. "Jack," my voice. Jack heard the soft crunch of the unicorn's hooves in the frozen snow. "Where did he go?" Baylor shouted. "Find him," yelled Grinda. Jack reached out and felt the unicorn's soft mane. Annie pushed open the door. Then she, Dianthus, and Jack slipped inside the main hall. Jack closed the door behind Baylor and Grinda. Before Baylor and Grinda could escape the garden. There wasn't a wisp of fog in the main hall. The museum lady was still behind her desk. She stared at Jack and Annie and the glowing unicorn that had just come in from the garden. She must be like, "Oh my God, what is that?" Her mouth opened and then closed. Dianthus stepped lightly over the wooden floor. Jack and Annie followed him. The museum lady never blinked. She's so stunned. Dianthus walked gracefully past her desk. She reached out and touched him. She wants to touch the unicorn. She grasped and quickly drew back her hand. "Thanks for keeping the museum open today," said Annie, "and thank Mr. Rockefeller for his gifts." The museum lady opened and closed her mouth again, still unable to speak. Jack opened the door that led to the street. Jack and Annie followed Dianthus out of the museum and down the stone steps. The blizzard had gotten much worse. Snow was coming down harder than ever. The wind was wailing. The unicorn shook his head and knelt down. "He wants us to get on his back," said Annie. "Quick, climb on behind me." Annie climbed onto the unicorn's back. Jack climbed down behind her. Dianthus stood up on his full height. Grinda and Baylor burst out of the door of the museum. "Stop!" screamed Grinda. Dianthus looked back at them. Then he leapt nimbly over a snowdrift and headed into the darkening storm. I mean, like, there's 20 more pages. And yeah, we'll finish the book. Why not? Chapter 8. Back to Life. Jack clung to Annie. Dianthus cleared the driveway of the cloister and began to run with ease down the street. His long strides were so light and graceful, Jack could hardly feel the movement. As the unicorn ran, he held his head high. His long spiral horn pierced the raging storm, seeming to calm the winds and snow. Jack realized he could feel his fingers and toes again. His whole body began to feel warm. Dianthus headed down a deserted parkway along the waterfront, past an empty bridge. The bridge's towers and cables formed a silver arc over a wide river. Whitecaps swept across the water surface. As the unicorn trotted past the river, the water became still. Dianthus left the riverside and headed down the city street. The wind whistled between the tall buildings, blowing the snow into great drifts. But the unicorn's horn turned the howling wind into a soft breeze. The wind-blown snow became floating star-shaped flakes, like the snowflakes on Christmas cards. As the unicorn trotted down the street, snow-bound taxis and streetcars started moving again. Lights came on in cafes and jazz clubs. Jack heard happy music coming from inside. With a calm, steady trot, the unicorn pranced on through the city. As he moved past old mansions, broken down tenements. Yeah, I know how to pronounce things. And shabby hotels, people peeked out of the doorways and windows to see why the sounds of the storm had died away. When they caught sight of Dianthus, with his horn shining in the windless air, they broke with joyful smiles. Church bells started ringing through the white silence. Finally, Dianthus came to a stone wall bordering Central Park. He jumped over the wall and landed knee-deep in a heap of snow. The unicorn leapt effortlessly out of this drift and cantered over a field and down a slope. Slowly the clouds parted, and light from the setting sun poured down. Hot corn, a peddler shouted, plowing his pushcart through the snow. Roasted chestnuts, shouted another. The good smells of the corn and nuts filled the blank. Anyway, here's the picture before I read on. I think, yeah, it's cards and stuff. Filled the crisp golden air of the park. The unicorn trotted past Belvedere Castle. Bill Perkins stood outside, staring up at the clear blue sky. "Hey, Mr. Perkins, the monster storm's not coming," shouted Annie. The weatherman saw Jack and Annie on the back of the white unicorn. His jaw dropped. Then he smiled and waved. Jack and Annie rode on. When they passed the statue of the winged angel, Jack thought he saw her move her great wings. "Did you see that?" he cried. "Yes," said Annie. When they passed the statue of Balto, Jack heard the sled dog bark. When they rode past the merry-go-round, Jack heard a chorus of neighs and whines, accompanied by lively carousel music. Dianthus pranced down a shimmering pathway. He leapt over a stone wall and cantered over another field. The unicorn's horn glistened, and the snowy field reflected gold. My throat is becoming dry since I don't know. I'm speaking fastly normal for me, but it's kind of fast, and I'm doing it loud. Reflected gold and copper light. Not until the unicorn came to the tree that held the treehouse did he stop. Annie hugged the unicorn's long, graceful neck. Thank you, she whispered and kissed him. Yay, wow, breathed Jack. Annie looked up at Jack over her shoulder. What now? She asked. I guess we climb off, said Jack. But then what? Annie asked sadly. Where does he go? That's a good question, said Jack. He comes with us, of course, someone said. Annie and Jack gasped. Baylor and Grinda slunk out from behind the tree. Baylor carried the black robe. Jack was stunned. How did you get here so fast? He asked. We took the A train, said Baylor. 'Tis actually a bit faster than riding a unicorn. Those salties people. The boy laughed meaningly. Shut up, Baylor, said Grinda. Then she turned to Jack and Annie. I am glad you had a happy little ride. Oh my gosh, my computer. Don't shut off your monitor when I'm in the middle of reading. Thank you. I'm glad you had a happy little ride. But you can say goodbye to Dianthus now. We will take him from here. No, you won't, said Annie. Stay away from us, said Jack. Come on, Dianthus, let's go, said Annie. Before Dianthus could move, Grinda rushed forward and grabbed his collar with both hands. The unicorn snorted and shook his head. Grinda clung fiercely to the collar. Get the rope over his head, Baylor, she yelled. Now! Baylor looped the black rope into a noose again. Like they're gonna kill him. My gosh. The unicorn twisted and turned his head. Jack kicked at Baylor. Stop, he yelled. Get away from us. Jack felt stupid just yelling and kicking, but he didn't know what else to do. As Baylor and Grinda struggled to get the noose over the unicorn's head, Annie pointed at them in a loud voice. She shouted, Foul air up here now here. Aka, 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 mir. The black rope fell to the snow. Baylor and Grinda started to spin around. They spun like two spinning tops. As they spun, they grew smaller and smaller. Jack saw a blur of colors, gray and brown, green and white, a dash of orange, and a dash of yellow. The spinning slowly came to a stop. The two scary teenagers were gone. In their place were two small mallard ducks. Chapter 9, it's them. Well, I do have 2 chapters. I guess I could stop here. 10. Yeah, I'm gonna stop here. My throat's gonna too dry, bros. Guys, sorry to call you bros. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this book, you know, and stuff, and I don't know. I'm almost done with the book and stuff. I don't know what else to say. We'll find out what the ending is and stuff. See where the story goes. They go into the treehouse. They go home. Like, yeah, but we don't know how it happens to the unicorn and stuff. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed my story. This book of the Magic Treehouse series. And I might read a different book in the future. Better book. You know, this one was easy to read and stuff, so that was good. And as always, I will see you guys in the next episode or part of whatever this is, of anything. And see ya!